I suppose the main thing when I was training for the most recent style of races that I decided to enter, and I don't like to use myself as an example, but I'm always experimenting on myself. And for the last 15 years, I've been concentrating on bike races where it's unpredictable riding. And that was my weakness, over, under. Because I came from a triathlon background, to go into a bike race where guys aren't riding steady state. They're absolutely trying to attack and then sit and recover and then attack again and look for opportunities in crosswinds. And so it's such a tactical event compared to a triathlon. So I had to change my whole training so that I was practicing over, under type, reinventing myself. But it was so good to go back to training for a steady state race, which is the triathlon. The aqua bike and the swim and bike, or just the team's bike event in the 70.3. So it was like my bread and butter. And I go back to my tried and true sessions where the ability to hold steady state power slightly above your range and slightly below, but not gassing it like you do in a bike race where you could be, 80 watts above your range and 10 watts, 100 watts below your range. And whereas in a triathlon, you're really trying to stay in that middle, not spike it and not drop it. So one of the things I practiced for years was to try and hold power within 5 watts. So not using the 3-second information data on the bike computer screen, where if I'm trying to ride, say it's a zone 2 ride, but I'm trying to ride 40 minutes at 210 watts to 215 and not see any numbers at 216 or 209. That's a really hard thing to do for a long period of time. The concentration level, it's not hard physically, but pedaling to keep the pressure on the power on the pedals is the thing that you're concentrating on. So you've got to keep your upper body still, not pull on the handlebars, keep the 360-degree pedaling action as smooth as possible, and then I would throw myself on the rollers and do that exact same thing. So do it on a stationary trainer, do it on the rollers, and go outside where there is no flat bit of road. Whereas the rollers are dead flat. So all I'm worried about is resistance and pedaling, and there's no wind. So then you take it to a velodrome and try and do it, try and ride in that zone. Why am I trying to do that? I'm trying to do that because on a 70.3 bike race of 90K, I want to, if I was doing the run afterwards, number one, I want to not have spikes so that I get off fresh as possible, and also I can ride well at the end of the bike ride. So they're the two main reasons that I'm not trying to spike things like we've talked about in a few podcasts, 6 or 7 podcasts ago, where I'm really trying to hone in on minimising the power that's going to hurt me the most for the endurance of the whole event. So I want to be at the top of the range. I want to be at 90%, but I want to be within 5 watts of that. And of course, outdoors with a headwind, far out, that is not easy to do. But if you've practiced it in training, you can ride at 90 to 92% into the headwind when it counts for 5 or 10 minutes or however long you're in the headwind for. And in some cases, it's 25 minutes where you're trying to hold. And then all of a sudden there's a rise in that headwind. So all of a sudden now you need to be at 295 to 298 watts and hold that. So you're really in control, and that's going to give you a better outcome. And if I know when I'm getting ragged is when I look down and I see 310 and then I see 270 and I'm thinking, I'll get back to pedaling.
All over the shop,
Yeah, and I'm going to get a better outcome. That's why the main reason I'm doing it is because it's going to enable me to ride the same way the whole way through and in fact be stronger at the back end. So if I don't have that already, that ability, it's a weakness that I've got, and I'm really trying to coach people to get that as a strength, their pedaling action, to push the power within. So be so accurate. The example would be an archer. He needs to be able to hit the 5, 7, 9 or 10 and be able to say, I'm aiming for the 5 and not hit the 10, or a dart player.
Not just get it close enough.
Yeah, he needs to hit double 20. And that's how accurate you want to be so that you're really finely controlling And as a triathlete, it's not about the other competitors. It's about you and what your ability is over that distance. And if someone goes past you, it doesn't make any difference to me. I'm not going to up it. I have done that in many races, and it's cost me dearly because I've started racing someone else's plan.
Yep.
So it's irrelevant what other people are doing on the day. Yep. So that is one of the little weird things that I practice. And in that same effort, I'm also practicing how controlled can I keep my heart rate. And if I know, and I've practiced this, if I sit up on the rollers with no hands and push the same power, I'm astounded at how much my heart rate goes up because of the anxiety of riding no hands. Yeah. I've put an extra flush of adrenaline in. Oh, I'm risking something here. I could come off. But it affects my heart rate. So it reminds me of how my mindset needs to be not panicking at any stage. I need to be calm so that I don't spike my heart rate. As you know, the more times your heart rate beats over that journey, the tighter you get. So let's not do that. Let's keep our heart rate as flatlined as possible. So holding power that doesn't have spikes, because every time you spike when you're going, say, 92%, all of a sudden you ride 110% for 30 seconds, what's the result with the heart rate? It spikes, and that's like burning a match. Yep. So that's one of the definite ones that I use, and people just might laugh at that, but it's absolutely helped me as a cyclist.
It's definitely obscure, but it makes perfect sense. And the most obscure part about it is that in most hard sessions, we do this anyway because we've got a number to hit, and so we're trying to hit that. We're focused on that. But it's in the easy sessions where we just relax. Doesn't really matter whether we're pushing 100 watts, 150, 200. We're not really focused. Whereas you're taking these easy sessions and concentrating for 40 minutes. Recovery sessions are boring enough as it is on the trainer. And I guess this is a way either to make it more entertaining for yourself as well. But that level of concentration in a recovery ride is not easy. And that is amazing practice going forward.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I do it. I know the reason why I do it, but one of the positives is it makes me get through the session. Far out. 45 minutes holding this ridiculously low power. It's like, this is so boring. But it's not to me. I've challenged myself with something in the event, in the session. And boy, the session goes so quick because, I'm concentrating on my pedaling action, even though it's ridiculously low power. But the cadence I'm trying to hit is 100 RPM and that power number.